Guys, I wanted to take a few minutes here today and talk a little bit about volume, and we've obviously seen some very light volume in general this year, but also specifically this last month has been pretty light a lot of days. It's not preventing us necessarily from doing some of the things we need to do, but certainly the opportunities are less. You got to be a lot pickier about what you're doing. This is last year's NASDAQ day-by-day volume from May through the end of the year in December. And a couple things I wanted to point out. If you recall, last August was a very negative month. We had a pretty sharp drop off, about 15% drop on the NASDAQ in August alone. And you can see that that led to a couple of days, sort of a panic bottom that didn't lead to anything else after that. It was a one-time push down and we came right back. But a couple of those days had some pretty big volume days, hitting almost 4 billion shares at one day there. And again, August is typically a little bit of a slower month. It's on average one of the most positive months of the year. What I mean by that is, if you take the last 100 Augusts, it's up decent. A lot of times the logic behind that has been that a lot of the big traders go away for summer break. Without some of the selling pressure that comes with them, the market has a better opportunity to move up. So you get lighter volume but an upward move. Now, what you can see is that other than that spike at the beginning of August when the market was falling over, volume did dip pretty low late in August last year. And you also get the Labor Day weekend right after that. You get a lot of light volume days leading up to that, and sometimes the Tuesday after. Labor Day this year is going to be a little earlier than usual. It's on the 3rd of the month. It's about as early as it can get when you're looking at Labor Day. So one of the things we're going to be watching for is whether or not we get a tick up in volume after that. And when you look at this moving average right here that I've got on this chart from last year, what you can see is that once Labor Day hit, the moving average started ticking back up, right? And that was because volume started to rise. That's typical what you see if July and August are a little slow. And again, looking at last year, July was slow compared to everything else. And then August was, except for those spike down days in the market. Things did start to pick up in September after Labor Day. And then October was about average, and as was November until you start to hit the holidays and Thanksgiving and Christmas. So, again, we expect to see a volume pickup. It also, however, the flip side of that is that while August is generally a very positive month, September is more often a very negative month. It's the only month of the year that if you take the last 100 Septembers and average them out, it's a negative percentage. Okay, every other month of the year is some kind of positive number if you take the last 100 of them. So the volume picks up, but typically you end up with more of a downward bias in September, and then things sort of bottom out in October, and you pick up again on average and run through the end of the year. So we'll be on lookout for that, obviously, and obviously if the market here near highs, there's room for a nice pullback without getting too detrimental to the market or the economy. And we'll see what that brings us. But again, I want to focus on the fact that as we go down the last, basically the last 8 trading days of August here, we're on Tuesday, August 21st right now. As we focus on the last 8 trading days of August, if volume does indeed stay low, and today was a little bit of a shock to me because yesterday didn't surprise me. Yesterday was the first day of a new option cycle in the middle of August. You're going to get a light volume day. We were only around 1.35 billion NASDAQ shares by the close. That doesn't surprise me, but today's actually tracking for less than that, and that's kind of a shocker. So, again, if it is that these last 8 days of August are going to be like this, we're going to want to keep our trades pretty tight, be really picky about what we're doing, probably use less size on everything on the stocks and futures size. We've already dropped to half size in Forex. That's something we commonly do in August because the volume gets so light over there. But again, you're going to be watching right after Labor Day for that volume to start to pick up, and sometimes with that comes a decline in the market.